Hello everybody, welcome back or welcome to the third episode of Scary Stories and Sketching. In today's episode I've got two stories for you, and one is some sort of, well actually they're both kind of creature in the woods type stories, so we're going to go with that. The second one I'll tell you is called Bigfoot's Toilet, so look forward to that. And there's Winston once again. Getting right in there. Okay, cool. Yep. Thanks, bud. I forgot Pumpernickel last time, but he loves to listen to a good spooky story. I also have these markers that I just realized are watercolor markers. So I've got some water as well. So maybe we'll just see what those do. Let's get into it. This first story is called "We Snuck Out to Smoke in the Woods Near Rock Hill. Something Followed Us Back." By Reddit user Tall Dog the Main. It's under the experience tag. I've gone back and forth for years about posting this. I know how it sounds, and I know what people are going to say. I'm not claiming to know exactly what it was. We didn't either. But I'm posting this now because I still live in South Carolina, and every once in a while something happens that reminds me of that night. This happened when I was 17, right outside Rock Hill, SC, not far from Winthrop. If you know the area, you know how fast the city drops off into woods, riverland, and places people don't really go unless they grew up there. There were 5 of us. Me, Tyler, Jess, Mark, and Evan. It was late spring, warm enough to be sticky, but not full summer yet. That humid South Carolina air where everything smells like wet dirt and pine needles. Tyler had just gotten his license a few months earlier, and his parents were out of town. Classic setup. None of us were bad kids, but we were bored, restless, and convinced nothing bad ever really happens to people our age. Someone, probably Mark, suggested we go smoke in the woods near the old access trail by the Catawba River. Not on the reservation itself, just land near it. Locals used it for fishing sometimes, and there were trails that went way deeper than most people realized. We weren't planning to camp, just go in far enough that no one could smell it, hang out, laugh, and head back before midnight. That was the plan. Tyler parked his car on the side of a gravel pull-off that didn't have a sign anymore. We grabbed backpacks, flashlights, and a speaker we never ended up using. The woods swallowed sound fast anyway. About 10 minutes in, Jess joked that it felt like we were trespassing somewhere we shouldn't be. Tyler laughed and said, "Relax. Worst thing out here is raccoons. I wish it had been raccoons." The trail narrowed after about half a mile. It wasn't maintained, just flattened earth from people walking it over the years. The deeper we went, the quieter it got. No road noise, no bugs chirping like usual. That should have been the first red flag, but none of us really clocked it at the time. We finally stopped in a little clearing. Trees all around, moonlight barely cutting through. Tyler rolled while Mark and Evan messed with the flashlight, shining it into the woods like idiots. That's when Jess froze. She whispered, "Do y'all hear that?" We all stopped talking. At first we thought it was just wind. Then I realized it wasn't steady. It came in short bursts like breathing, but too slow, too deliberate, from somewhere past the trees. Mark shined the flashlight in that direction. Nothing. Then we heard footsteps. Not heavy ones, not running, just slow. Crunching leaves. One step, pause, another step. Tyler called out, "Hello?" Which in hindsight was the dumbest possible thing to do. Something answered. It sounded like a person trying to sound human. "Hey," it said. I can still hear it. The voice wasn't distorted or deep or monster-like. That's what made it worse. It was flat, empty, like someone repeating a word they'd heard without understanding it. Jess grabbed my arm, hard enough to hurt. Evan whispered, "That's not funny." "Hey," it said again, closer this time. Mark laughed nervously and said, "Probably some dude messing with us." Then the flashlight beam caught movement. Something tall stepped between 2 trees, just far enough that the light didn't fully hit it. I remember thinking it was wearing a hoodie until it moved its head. It tilted. Wrong. Like it was learning how necks worked. The smell hit us next. Wet fur. Rot. That coppery smell you get when you cut your hand. Tyler said, "We're leaving." None of us argued. We started walking back fast, not running yet. The footsteps followed. Always just far enough behind that we couldn't see it clearly, but close enough that we could hear it stop when we stopped. At one point, it laughed. Not a real laugh, just a broken sound, like someone had heard laughter once and tried to recreate it. Then it said my name. I had never told anyone outside that group my full name. Not online, not out loud, not ever out there. I stopped dead. Jess screamed at me to keep moving, and that snapped me out of it. We ran. Branches whipped at our faces. Someone fell. Mark, I think. And something crashed through the woods behind us like it suddenly didn't care about being quiet anymore. That's when it started changing. I know how that sounds. I don't have a better word. Its footsteps got heavier, faster, then lighter again. At one point, it sounded like it was running on 2 legs, then 4. Evan tripped, and I turned back without thinking. My flashlight caught it fully for maybe half a second. It looked like a deer that had been stretched wrong. Too tall, too thin. Its eyes reflected white, not yellow like animals usually do. And its mouth. Its mouth was smiling, but not at the right angle. It spoke again, in Jess's voice. Wait. That broke something in all of us. We didn't stop running until we saw the gravel pull off. Tyler fumbled his keys so bad he dropped them twice. The woods went dead silent the second we crossed that invisible line between trees and open space. The thing didn't follow us out. It stood just inside the tree line, watching. We peeled out of there and didn't talk until we were halfway back into town. Streetlights everywhere. None of us smoked that night. We never went back. Here's the part that still messes with me. The next morning, Tyler found muddy footprints around his car. Bare feet. Too long, like someone had dragged their toes. And for weeks after that, we'd get texts from unknown numbers that just said things like, hey, or come back, or why did you run? We changed numbers eventually. I've heard people call things like that, I'm going to call them flesh pedestrians, because if we say that actual word, apparently it can summon them, so I'm not going to say it. They say, I know that term gets thrown around and it's tied to cultures I don't want to disrespect. I'm not saying that's what it was. I'm saying something was out there, and I think it learned us. If people want more, I'm not the only one from that night with stories. Some of us still won't talk about what happened after. Just don't go looking for it. It already knows where you are. Woo! That one gives me goosebumps. But I'm excited to draw whatever that thing is. Okay, so there's the other ones we've done. Skidwell Ghost, yeah. Haunted object, a haunted magenta chair. Let's see. This one is, what should we call it? We'll just call it something in the woods, I guess. Said it looked like a deer that had been stretched wrong. So I'm gonna draw maybe some like trees that I can do. Not too badly. I'm gonna do like this. Let's do this. Just kind of like bare trees. I don't know. Why not? Too tall, too thin. Let's see. Kind of like give it some weird legs. It's like a little doot tail. What does a deer head look like? See, this is the thing about this kind of let's give it a really weird long neck. Trying to sketch these things without like looking them up. I mean, it's not a real, I mean, it might be real, but it's not like it's not an actual deer, you know, like, so we're just gonna make it, it's gonna look funky, and that's fine, which is what we want. Maybe we get a little... I mean, I see the deer here all the time, and I don't know what they look like, sure. We've got a little nose there, their ears. Maybe I'll make them crazy tall. Something like this. Ooh, there we go. The idea of like flesh pedestrians or whatever we're gonna call them is such an interesting concept. Yeah, I saw, I don't know, I think it might have been on Two Girls, One Ghost, which is a hilarious name, but they do paranormal stories. They said you shouldn't say the SKIN, name, because it could summon them. So I'm just gonna believe that. Let me know if you guys have heard that before. Do we like that? I kind of am enjoying this. He kind of looks mad, which is perfect. Let's see. Let's get a nice brown. I don't know how to use, I don't know how to use watercolor markers, so maybe we'll try it. Should this be the outside? Yeah, this will be outside the ear. I was gonna say, do I need to draw the inside of the ear there? No. Yeah. I have drawn this like it's like a little mad little deer, when the story actually sounds way, way, way worse. But this is the thing. This is my whole point in doing this, is like, if you take something that's scary and you draw it, maybe one day I'll draw something and it'll come out really creepy looking. But if you take a scary story and then you draw something and it looks silly, it's kind of like taking that energy, the scared energy, and like neutralizing it, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but like literally, are you guys gonna be scared of this? Maybe you'll be scared of it, but if it was like following you in the woods. But the creature of that story is way scarier than this thing. But I picked that story because I thought it would be a good subject to draw. We'll see. So far, so good, baby. It's black. I think also part of this exercise for me is I don't really sketch very much. I usually get an idea and then I draw it, and then I will take it into Procreate and just do the finished drawing from there. I don't really play around and sketch very much, so that's another part of this, is that I just want to let go of the outcome a little bit in these kinds of things. I'm going to give it a big bright green eye. Let's get this marker out. These markers out. I got these at the thrift store, and then I think I looked them up and they were not they're not very fancy. And I was like, but look at the tin. The tin makes them look so fancy, but they're not. Yeah, this brown one is kind of dry already. it a mistake to outline this in like a watercolor marker? Maybe. That's kind of, maybe I'll play with the markers in the background. See what kind of blending they do, I guess. I'm assuming that they'll like blend. I don't know, like when you add water to it. I'm just outlining it because why not? But yeah, this marker kind of sucks. Some on there. This one's got a little more juice. Let's see. I kind of want to just try. I'm not gonna like. I just want to try. I want to try the watercolor out just cause, but I don't want to like faff around too much. So let's see if this does anything. It's probably just gonna mean I'll have to like let my book dry, but I'm probably gonna be too impatient to do that. Let's just see if that does anything. Okay. It's doing something. I don't really want it to like touch the deer now. It's gonna make it all blurry, but maybe that's kind of cool. I don't know if it's like a weird blurry entity, non-entity thing. Okay, see, now I have to do the rest. We're gonna put just kind of a line where he's standing, so there's like earth there. So I know. This might be the little danger zone. I mean, those kind of cool, like the way it keeps a bit of the marker line, but then it also bleeds through. Oops. Oh, I'm making a mess. Should I make it darker in the bottom here? Can we just add some darker blue? I don't even know, I don't think that this sketchbook is even made for adding wet to it, but I don't care. Let's see. Should we do... You guys tired of this already? Because I'm still into it, so I'm gonna keep going. Let's take this permanent marker. Should we make these birch trees? Why not? Why not? It's hard to get in here now that I've made the page mostly wet. Oops. I think this marker's kind of almost done too. Let's do this. I don't know if they have birch trees really in South Carolina where the story takes place, but they do now. I guess the cats don't feel like listening to... Oh, wow. Okay, Ned's getting up to mischief right now. He's on top of the TV shelf, swatting at plants. So I guess he's got better things to do than hang out with me. See, I'm getting paint on myself. What do we think? I'm gonna color a little bit more. Sorry, I was just checking on Ned, seeing what he was up to. Of course, a nice helicopter just went over top of us. This one is just a regular aquarelle pencil crayon. If you're interested, I just have so many. I think maybe I'll use this series to continue trying different art supplies, because I have a lot. I'm just looking for a little bit of a grayish color. And they're not all fancy. Like these, I think, are dollar store markers. I just happened to get them at the thrift store, and I thought they were kind of fancy looking, but I was wrong. Of course, also I'm just kind of doing this like quickly, so I'm not expecting it to be perfect. I just kind of just want to do it. This is like a pretty warm gray. So, I don't know. Do I have a darker gray? Sometimes these colors look one way and then you use them and they're like not the color you thought they were. Let's kind of put a shadow on the side of these trees. I don't know if you can even see it. It's weird. So you can tell I'm having fun with this one. Like with the Goodwill Ghost Girl, I kind of was like, I give up. Which is fine. I can do whatever I want. This is my book. This is my notebook. So, you know. Oh, my red, brown. Is it just red? Roan red. Roan is like horse, so that kind of fits. Right? Right? I don't know. I saw somebody on TikTok was talking about, what's it called? The Secret of Roan-Inish. Have you guys seen that movie? Speaking of that word, Roan, maybe it means red, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being silly. But that movie's really good, actually. It's about Selkies. It's like set in the 1940s, but it was made in the 90s. So, you know, it's like that. It's a kid's movie, and it's really good. Or I thought it was good anyway. I just watched it recently. I was able to borrow it from my library. There we go. What do you guys think? If this was in the woods, if this was in the woods, would you be scared of it? I feel like if it was following me, maybe. But I've seen so many deer. There's literally deer that like live in the yard here, so I don't know. I mean, a really, really tall deer that tries to talk and like changes shape and stuff, I would be scared of for sure. And like texts you later, it's like no one, you know, people aren't interested. You know what I mean? Anyway, now let's get to Bigfoot's toilet. I'm gonna leave this open for a little bit so it can dry while I tell you the next story. The one that I've been calling Bigfoot's Toilet. But the actual title is Got Lost in the Woods for 8+ Hours as a Little Girl and Saw Something Unexplainable by B Baby Turns Blue or The Baby Turns Blue. It's under the experience tag as well. I grew up in a densely forested rural area in central Virginia, and like most kids my age, 10 at the time of the story, I spent a lot of time playing in and around the woods. My best friend and I had found a creek one day while exploring different deer trails through the woods. This creek we happened on was a very rare find and the perfect spot for us to play. It was wide and deep enough to swim around in and had nice, soft, mossy banks on either side to rest on after we had tired ourselves out. The water was cool and clear, no copperheads, and no mosquitoes because the water was constantly running. We were psyched. After a few hours of swimming, we had to walk back home for lunch, but made plans to pack lunch the next day so we could have a picnic on the creek banks and spend the whole day there. That sounds so nice, actually. The next morning, we set out for the woods at around 1 p.m., planning to have the picnic first and swim after. We entered the same spot we had the previous day and followed what we thought was the same deer trail. It was not. At the point where we should have found the creek, we walked into a small clearing that was covered in huge, thick ferns. We had definitely never walked past this before. So, being both hungry and tired of walking, we decided to eat in the clearing. We laughed and played around there for a while, spitting watermelon seeds at each other from our lunch. It was an absolute blast, and we were both in wonderful, giddy moods. That all changed, however, as soon as we packed up and set back out to find the creek. As we walked on, the woods started to feel darker and colder. We got skittish and I noticed my friend was whipping her head around to look behind us. After about a half hour of walking, we came up on what looked like an entire overgrown bathroom, sink, toilet, and bathtub all sitting arranged together and covered in ivy. It's pretty common to find weird shit like this in the middle of the woods, so we just walked on and made jokes to lighten the mood, calling it Bigfoot's bathroom. After another hour of walking and not seeing anything we recognized, we started to panic. Instead of trying to reach the creek, we were now just trying to find our way back home, or out of the woods at least. I told her we should follow the sun and eventually we would come up on a road or someone's property where we could find help. She's totally right. She insisted on another way, and we began yelling at each other out of fear and, let's be honest, little girl bossiness. I told her if she thought she was so right, she should just go her own way, and we would see who got out first, so we split up. Now, as an adult, I fully acknowledge I was being a stubborn brat and also an idiot. Worst possible thing we could have done. Not 10 minutes after splitting up, I began to hear someone walking maybe 100 feet behind me. Thinking it was my friend deciding to go my way after all, I slow down so she can catch up to me. Instead, whatever it was matched my pace. I slow down, it slows down. I stop, it stops. This went on for hours. The whole time I was going back and forth on whether or not it was in my head or whether there really was something following me. I picked up a big stick, swung it a few times to make sure it was sturdy if I had to hit someone, and trucked on. This girl is so brave. As it began to get dark, I came upon something that made my heart sink into my stomach. It was Bigfoot's bathroom. I had just walked in a huge circle for hours, despite being 100% sure I was following the setting sun west the entire time. Confused and frustrated, I sat down on a log and just screamed my little heart out while smacking my whoop-ass stick repeatedly into the ground. As I tried to collect myself, I heard footsteps again walking up on me from behind. I called out my friend's name as loud as I could. No answer. Then, after a short pause, the steps began to run towards me. I jumped up and booked it as fast as I could in the opposite direction. Now, this is the truly horrifying part which I typically omit while telling people this story. As I was sprinting through the darkening woods, I began to hear what I thought were church bells. I looked up to see the darkest, deepest cloud I've ever seen in my life. In the middle, it was so black it was like looking into the night sky, and the dark gray around it seemed to be swirling. It gave me a horrible feeling to look at, almost like the nausea you get when looking through binoculars too long. What sickened me further is that I realized the sound of the bells was coming through the hole in the cloud. They were deafeningly loud. I mean, really booming out of this thing. When I realized this, I stopped dead in my tracks. I felt a sense of absolute and overwhelming dread that has gone unmatched in all my 24 years on this planet. Something in my head began screaming that if I did not run away from whatever the hell that cloud was, no one would ever see me again. I would be gone. I did not want to run toward the thing chasing behind me either, though, so I made a sharp right and took off away from both. It was now completely dark and I was running blind through the woods, smacking through branches, wheezing, and tripping every few feet for what seemed like another hour, until I smacked into something low and flew over it, hitting the ground so hard all the air in my lungs was knocked out of me. As I lay there trying to recover, I realized I couldn't hear the bells anymore. Then my eyes adjusted more to the dark and I realized what had just made me go ass over teeth was an old fence. Grabbing hold of it, I prayed it would lead me to a farm, and sure enough, it did. I walked up over a hill about a mile back to the farmhouse, explaining what had happened, and the farmer graciously gave me a ride home. I was covered head to toe in scrapes, oozing blood, and more exhausted than I had ever been in my life, but I was finally safe. It was past 9 p.m. when I finally walked through my front door. My friend had gotten back shortly after we split, and I figured I had as well. So hadn't told anybody I was lost, and my family just figured I was still out after dark, which wasn't uncommon for me. They were shocked when I walked in beat up and crying. Nobody had been looking for me at all. To this day, I wonder how long they would have waited to come find me if I hadn't been lucky enough to find the fence, and if it would have been too late. That story's crazy. I mean, like, I love the idea of a Bigfoot's bathroom in the woods. Like, that's cute, but the rest is so scary. So I'm gonna probably try and draw Bigfoot's bathroom. Try being the word, the big word here. Okay, so the writer of the story is calling it Bigfoot's bathroom. I've been calling it Bigfoot's toilet. But I kind of like the idea of like Bigfoot in the tub, you know? Like if we have like some bricks here. Brick shape, yes. Just like part of an old house, I guess. Just the foundation left. I don't know if I'll get as in depth with this one, but I might get carried away again. I don't know. We'll see. So like maybe there's like, I'm not gonna do a whole bathroom, but I'm gonna put a tub in here. Yeah, has anyone ever experienced anything like that? Like I'm gonna give it a little Baba Yaga feet. Why not? Chicken feet for those who don't know. Baba Yaga has a hut that runs around on chicken feet. She's pretty cool. I've gotten distracted by that. I think if it's like a human tub that Bigfoot's like, I'm gonna take a bath in that, like he'll probably be way too big for it. So we're gonna we're gonna make him like a little cutie, like obviously. He's gonna have big arms. And he's gonna go down and his feet are just gonna be up in the air because he's got nowhere else to go. Maybe he's got one up. He's got one up. And his pointed little jazzy foot. And then he's got one down. I might be able to make this clearer in a little bit. Let's give him like this kind of a face. Kind of like the Finn the Human from, Adventure Time. I'll give him little claws. He's just having a good time in the tub. So maybe he's like, yes, I'm in my tub. And I'm having a good time. I don't know. Guys, maybe I'm losing it. Am I losing it? Probably. I think I lost it a long time ago. He's having the best time. I think maybe he has like a little face like this. He kind of looks like a bear right now. That's okay. We're gonna give him whiskers. Why not? Do you guys think Bigfoot is corporeal? Do you think he's a ghost? Do you think he's a time-traveling being that hops from world to world? There's so many theories about Bigfoot. That's so interesting. I live in BC, so Bigfoot country. He's literally like the mascot for one of the beer companies, Kokanee. Canadian, I guess. I think. It's probably not now that I said that. Okay, look how cute. Let's get some bubbles going in here. Give him some modesty. He's having a great time. Let's get some ferns going. Listen, if you were out in the woods as a kid and you came across Bigfoot like this, not so scary. You know? I kind of want like a thinner black marker that's not going to be a watercolor. I do need to get some better supplies. It's like this one sucks too. I'll try the other one in a second. Let's see. Got another black one. Oh, this one's really thin though. Get this one. So many, none of them work. This one's better. Just gonna that's kind of better. Maybe it's the paper. Maybe the paper is too absorbent. Does it even look like Bigfoot? It kind of looks like a big cat, which is fine. Big cat. Fine by me. Because it's the whiskers, I think. It's okay. Give him cat face. Like the way my cats have been sabotaging me today. They keep going to the bathroom right when I was like trying to read the story, so I had to start over so many times. Cats, though, am I right? Would you have a Baba Yaga bathtub? I think I would. With the chicken feet claw tub, chicken claw tub. I think it's a fun twist. Get all these bubbles in here. Even like between this week's episode and last week, I think I'm getting a little better, like not being so uptight about my drawings, and then as a result, they're kind of like more fun. But maybe it's just because I'm also drawing like creatures as opposed to like. I mean, I draw ladies all the time, so I don't know why the ghost world got all goofy, but it's alright. Some things just don't work out, and that's fine. So now I feel like I want to do this little guy in a tub as like a sticker or something. See, so there is a point to all of this. Inspiration comes from strange sources, and that's like one of the points of what I wanted to do when I was coming up with this kind of setup. I was like, they're all gonna be kind of like silly drawings, but then maybe, one or two of them will be interesting enough to spark an idea or become something different, something else. Look at Bigfoot's in the bathtub. Big kitty. Big Bigfoot cat is in the bathtub. Just gonna erase the pencil lines here if I can. Well, that's not a pencil line. That's that crappy black marker from before. There we go. Claws back on. Just clean it up a bit. I'm thinking this is very cute. Let's get this like a floor of its own. Some ferns, some more ferns. They're in the middle of the woods, so we should probably draw some trees in the background. Right? Just quick trees. Okay, he's quite cute. And then it was getting darker and darker. That would be so scary. She's like the bravest 10-year-old I've ever heard of. I guess also when you're young, though, you don't really understand when you're actually in trouble. So she's probably like, this is fine. And then felt like something was following her, and then that weird black cloud. Oops. Jumped up on that tree. That's good. Try not to make this video 1,000,000 years long, but this one might be a long one, and that's okay. Do you think maybe it's a full moon? Why not? Right there. Oops. Let's put some rings around it for ominous vibes. Maybe? Like, he's having a great time because he's Bigfoot, so he fears no man. And nor should he. Because who's gonna take him down? I've heard that, I mean, this Bigfoot in the tub, it's pretty funny because, like, I've heard he's very smelly. Maybe that's just a rumor. I don't know. But that's what I've heard. I know bears can be quite stinky. We see bears around here a lot. Don't usually get too close enough to smell them, though. Luckily. One of my friends is one of my sister-in-law's family friend. She calls her aunt, but it's not really aunt, but is, but isn't, you know what I mean? She was attacked by a bear a couple years ago, and she lived to tell the tale because her dog helped her get out of there. Like, she was walking her dog, and a bear attacked her and bit her arm. That's so scary. And she was fine, and the dog's fine, I think, too, which is really lucky. Wouldn't want to leave you hanging on that story. There we go. Okay. Now, do you want to watch me color it? Do we? It might take forever. Maybe I will just color it, and then I'll show you when I'm done, because this video is already going to be really long. Okay? Okay. I had a lot of fun coloring that one in. Look at... I find with pencil crayons and stuff, it's hard to not get muddy, but I was just having fun. Okay, look at just like Bigfoot or Big Cat Foot or whatever it is. Having fun in the tub. I don't know if you can see, but Ned's here now as well. He's having a snooze. Thanks for joining me. That's all I have for today. I will see you next time. Bye.